Blessings and good morning, everyone. It is such a gift to be with you here this morning. My name is Tuesday May Thomas. I am a Heaven on Earth ambassador here to teach self-mastery. Today is November 23rd of 2017. Here in the States, it is celebrated the Day of Thanksgiving, or as one of my friends calls it, Happy Day of Thanks, which I really appreciate and resonate with. This is 4D Trinity, where we bridge fourth dimensional consciousness through body, mind, and spirit, the unity of body, mind, and spirit. What is 4D consciousness? 4D consciousness is us living consciously that which embodies heaven on earth. What is heaven on earth? Heaven on earth is us choosing the right mental constructs to bridge and bring down those realities that reflect a blissful paradise state of being. What is heaven on earth? It is choosing forgiveness in every state, in every moment, towards ourselves and towards others. It is choosing compassion, the wisdom of the heart towards ourselves and towards others. These qualities help to bring down and ground us into a mental and emotional balanced state of being, relieved of stress, fully relaxed in the now moment. And when this happens, when we collectively choose love, when we choose love together, that almighty power, that almighty medium that bridges all life everywhere, that is life and beyond life, that gives life to life, what happens is we fortify, we nourish, we ground, and we bring to earth, we bring to realization a collective that is living heaven on earth, that is in the earth, that is in the world rather, and not of it. Are you ready? I know I am. And the reason why I say in the world and not of it, and I do believe there is a difference between earth and the world. The world is composed of our worldly considerations, and the earth contains heaven on earth realization. And we'll get into that a little more. But before we begin this morning, please do let me know if you're here. Give me a little line in the chat box and say hello. I'm so grateful. And we will go ahead and start with our prayer. So let's take a deep breath and take a moment to close our eyes. We call in all of our angels and our guides, all those light beings, those ascended masters, guardian angels, and perhaps those loved ones that have passed from this life that hold space for us in the ethers, guiding the way, opening the way, softly speaking as a voice unto us to help enliven our hearts and light our vision towards truth. We call in our animal totems, our spirit guides, and with that I call in the whale, the divine record keeper. I call in the hummingbird, that which sings of the joys of life. I call in the horse that represents the power of freedom. I call in the crocodile, the gatekeeper of all knowledge, and of course the dear raven, that messenger that bridges all of this information through the dimensions. Thank you so very much. So this morning, I just want to take a moment also to extend my love and my light to everyone everywhere that is going through some kind of a physical healing, dealing with physical ailments of any accord. You know, I believe physical illness is a rite of passage to greater love. There is nothing wrong. You have not done anything wrong if you are in illness, but that it is a call for love. It is an exercise and an opportunity to experience greater love in your mind, in your body, and throughout the world. And in that way, bridging ourselves to heaven on earth, bringing ourselves back to the wholeness that we truly, truly are. This morning, our topics are gratitude, faith, and prayer. We'll be discussing the metaphysics of gratitude, faith, and prayer, and the dynamics of how they work when we use them accordingly to bridge heaven on earth, to bring us into our greater power of unity consciousness. And before we get into that, I did want to take a moment and reflect on last week's live stream. We talked about the metaphysics of spiritual weight loss. And I know I was demonstrating for me the people in my life that had been the villains, so to speak, that I held a lot of blame towards for many years of my life and that I felt a victim of. And what I want to express is that now in my life that I give thanks for these teachers. I see them as teachers, these people that for so many years in my life I felt I was bullied by and I was betrayed by, and it is such a beautiful place to come into being free of those thoughts, free of those paradigms, and not only to set myself free, but to extend and give that freedom, that life, that blessing out to others. So I do want everyone to know that I am in a wonderful relationship now with my mother, and for many years it wasn't so. We had our times, we had our years of ups and downs, as I'm sure many of you have had, but through the practices of love, of self-love, and of extending love little by little, our relationship has healed. And I'm so very grateful to be able to share appreciation, affection with my mother. And so blessings and thank you, Mother. I love you so very much. And I wouldn't be here. I'm gonna cry. I wouldn't literally be here now without you. So thank you. And I just really wanted to bring that up because I didn't say that in the last live stream. And I want the collective to know that the paradigm through which those aspects are now realized in my life have created a harmony, have reached a beautiful balance whereby forgiveness reigns and both myself and my mother can appreciate and live life in the now moment free of the past. If I can do it, you can do it. If there are things that you still hold against people, whether it is family members or it's those old culprits and those villains of your past, as you begin to collapse time and forgive and place love there, you are set free and you allow those others to be set free. So thank you so much for listening to that. And I do want to acknowledge we have someone here with us. Oh, Christine, blessings. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm so grateful for you too. Thank you so much for being here. So we are going to be discussing gratitude, faith, and prayer this morning. I have many little scriptures that I want to read from, and I do carry around a book as a writer and an author. It is often that I will have a little notebook and a pen in my bag with me or somewhere with me so that as I receive a divine download of inspiration, I write things down. And I was guided to call on this little book to express some of these ideas. So I'm going to read from it now. There's just a few ideas here that I thought were so potent with regards to today's live stream. And in it, there is the first reading that reads, "Gratitude is the soul's way of multiplying good." When we express gratitude, we are multiplying that which abides in the highest love, in the highest light. And we are saying, yes, bring more of that. Yes, I identify with that. Yes, I say yes to that, which is that I'm saying thanks for. And so we are creating space energetically, mindfully, mentally, emotionally to receive more of that which we extend gratitude for. And it's funny because I wrote, gratitude is the soul's way of multiplying good, right? The soul, the one soul, your spirit. But also then after that, I wrote that gratitude is the soul, S-O-L-E, way of multiplying good. It makes it so, right? It makes abundance so, for it is. So if we think about all the other ways that we can multiply good in our lives, gratitude is one of the anchor points that we can fully embody and express our love and our conscious realization of the blessings that are here. And where we place our focus and our attention is where we will receive our reality come into effect for us. And so expressing gratitude right now for all the things in our lives is such a beautiful, beautiful way to reinforce the effect of having more. We think about this day of Thanksgiving, and we might think of a cornucopia of blessings, right? Of foods and of family and of sharing love and of sharing light. And so let's take a moment right now, please, if you're here with me, give me a little line in the comment box. What are you grateful for right now, today? I am thankful for you. I am thankful for my voice. I am thankful for my health. I am thankful to be one with the mind of God, that which aligns me with my full power and authority, that being coming back to love over and over again, choosing mindfully love over and over again. And as I do this, as we do this collectively, we bridge heaven on earth. We create a different timeline to live by. We create a different paradigm to be in existence with all that is. Christine says she's grateful to live to live a life aligned with God. Me too, sister. Absolutely. Thank you for that. So I'm going to read another thing because, again, another one of our topics is faith. Faith is not blind. It is visionary. No matter how many problems you have, there are answers. No matter how many problems you have, there are answers. Faith is not blind. It is visionary. It is beyond the senses. So if we consider that everything in the world, all of the ways that we perceive in the world, rest on our senses, on the eyes, on the ears, on what we feel that we can touch. And we've been taught to believe that that is what's real, that that's what matters. And where faith invites us to go is into a metaphysical realm that is beyond the senses. It is the sixth sense, if you will, that is directly aligned with all that is love, that is God, that is source, that higher power, that is Jah, that is whatever name you give it, the goddess, whatever name you give it. When we exercise faith, we are saying yes to the part in us that not hopes, but that knows. I had a very interesting little chat with a student recently who was thinking about hope and was expressing that, that hope is the same as faith, maybe. And what I say is, and there's so many words. If you watch my my tarot, I know this last week that I was talking about releasing the word but from my vocabulary and replacing it with and, though, or yet. And in that way, let's consider replacing the word hope. And this is kind of funny. For me, what I've realized is I say nope to hope. I say nope to hope because when I think about it, hope, or tell me what you think. When I consider the word hope, sure, it has promise. It has a speculation of positivity. Yet within that construct, if we are hoping only and only hoping for something, there is still room for the no. There is still room for doubt, right? And that's a big one because when we switch to faith, we align ourselves with that knowing, and knowing and faith is different from hope. Hope, we are still on the fence of maybe this and maybe that. And what it does when we align ourselves with faith is we recognize that there is one truth. We recognize and we give our lives over to that one truth. And we trust that whatever it looks like, whatever problem abides, whatever it is, whether it's in our finances, it's in our health, it's in our relationships, our works, our jobs, our career, in school, that there is a divine spark of love and light there. And when we place our awareness in a faithful way towards those aspects in our life, we create a pipeline, we create a direct connection with source, with all that is, so that it can come back into us and align with us and show us and reveal to us that which is aligned in that realm that is beyond the senses. Metaphysically speaking, When we think about the chakras, I have this theory, and one of the theories is gifted by my teacher, my Reiki grandmaster that I studied and apprenticed with in New York. And she proposes that there is a line from the third chakra, that there are bridges. There's a bridge from the third chakra to the fourth chakra, and that is the trust bridge, where we move beyond the first three chakras that are very much connected to the world, to survival, and to just being okay with being a body, with being alive on this planet. And once we get square, once we are feeling aligned and embodied and trusting that it's okay to be a body, once we feel safe, that it's okay to trust our truth, our here I am, and begin to embody that in the world, what happens is that this faith line becomes activated from the core of our being, from the solar plexus up into the heart center, and that's our trust bridge. And it's through trust that we exercise faith, because the next line energetically that connects the chakras from the heart all the way up to the throat, the third eye, and through the crown is called the faith line. And when we conjure enough trust in ourselves, enough trust in that force of love, that power that is love, that is God, that is light, that is, we give ourselves over to that power. We give ourselves over, we surrender, and we begin to learn allowing. We trust. We release the need to control or to think that we know the outcomes of things, whether we think that they may be good, bad, or otherwise. So this is a deep metaphysical teaching. And if we think about it, I know there was a meditation I did once, and we had to, that our teacher did with us once, and we had to look at our trust bridge and see what it looked like. And we went in and looked. And so take a moment, and if you have this ability, and it might be a deeper meditation for you, but think about and feel into, what does your trust bridge look like? Just take a moment to do that. This bridgeway that connects the third chakra from the center of your stomach, the center of your solar plexus, up to the heart. Now, I know for me, the first time I looked in there, it looked like something from an Indiana Jones film. It was all bestraddled, and it was hanging by a thread, and it was all weak and wobbly. And I was like, whoa, this is this is some trust bridge. I don't feel like this is reflecting very much trust in my life. And it did reflect all the areas where I was not in alignment with faith, where I was not in alignment with trust. And so what we did is we went in and we refurbished our trust bridge. And that's something you can do at any time. And from that Indiana Jones wobbly looking frame bridge that I had from my third chakra to my fourth, I reinvested my awareness in it, and I created a beautiful rose quartz, a strong, shiny, beautiful rose quartz bridge that went from and goes from my third chakra to my heart. And in that way, reinstating this ability to trust. Okay, so this is just something you can do on your own in your meditations, in your prayers, and perhaps I will create a little meditation here on the YouTube channel specifically for that. But the reason why I'm talking about that is because as we allow ourselves to trust more and more in that which is beyond, we align ourselves. It begins to fire up that trust bridge, which sparks the faith line, which is our direct source and connect to God, to source. And as we connect with that, we drop thinking that we know how things are going to show up, whether we are, or people that we love are dealing with heavy illness, or we're in financial straits, or whatever it might be. As we allow ourselves to trust and to bridge faith by praying through faith, by speaking through words of faith, we allow for the highest good to happen. All prayer, gratitude, and faith are the practice of allowing. And allowing allows us to activate those receptive receptors within us that help, again, bridge us to the greater order, where there is order, where there is a divine alignment that is always taking place. So as long as we hope, or as long as we are indifferent and feeling that, well, my family member is very, very sick, I don't know what's going to happen, it's probably going to be really, really bad, and I'm going to prepare for the worst. We can do that. Yet, what if we prepare for the best? What if we give it over to God and we say, you know what, I'm placing this in your hands, dear God, and I'm going to trust and I'm going to exercise faith that the best thing can happen. And that's been a theme last week's live stream, and in this last week's last week's tarot, which I'll put a link here, where we were asking the right kind of questions to the universe, exercising our faith and dropping the way that we think things need to show up, whether it's in work, money, finances, career, with loved ones, with illness, with our health, with our bodies. What's the best thing that can happen? I have faith that the best thing is happening now with regard to my family member's illness, with regard to my illness, with regard to my money issues. Exercising faith connects us to a strata of greater order. And as you know, we talk about the grids here. And I use this art that I've created to demonstrate it. This, imagine, is the whole of collective consciousness. Grids are thread lines of energy, thread lines of thought, feeling, emotion, and actions. And in this strata is contained all thought, feeling, emotion, considerations that have ever been given rise to through the collective consciousness. So if you think about it, that's everyone, everywhere that has been in existence through all time and space have and do give rise to this strata, this matrix, if you will, what we call the matrix of collective consciousness. Now within it are the order of love and fear. And the bottom line is that all there is love and fear. And there's varying degrees we can think about it and considerate, yes, we can considerate, but that we can consider these aspects in. But ultimately, we're either in love consciousness or fear consciousness. And when we learn to align our consciousness in the realms of faith, in the realms of love, what we do is we connect consciously with those stratas. Here's another picture that I use often. This is me, this is my profile from the side, and this demonstrates every thought, every word, every feeling we have is sending out grid lines, energy strata lines, these threads of energy from you, from your heart, from your mind, from your cells. And as we extend out through our thoughts, actions, words, and deeds, we are connecting with that greater order, and greater strata of collective consciousness. And we can either connect through love or we can connect through fear. And we've talked about what you send out returns multiplied. And why is that? It is because if in this strata, in this matrix of collective consciousness is contained every thought, word, deed, and every definition, every feeling, every experience that every person through all time, space, and dimensions, since the beginning of time and space, since we've invented it, is stored here. This is the storing house. If all of that information is stored here, then what we put out, what we connect with, connects back to us energetically. And so what we plug into plugs into us. We say yes to it, whether it be fear or love, and it connects into us as we connect into it. And so we are fed through those landscapes. And so that's why when you're going through depression and you know you're dealing with a lot of heavy things and maybe a lot of really hard thoughts in your mind that are around self-doubt, self-sabotage, etc., you can really get yourself into a tizzy and feel yourself going into a downward spiral if that's where you keep your attention, if that's where you keep your focus, because you're connecting to everyone else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions that have ever considered, whether it is suicide, that have ever considered hating themselves, feeling that they're not worthy and not enough. You're directly connecting to the strata and to every person through all time and space that has ever had like considerations, feelings, emotions, and thoughts. And so it reinforces, it comes back to you multiplied. But the good news is we can change our minds. We can change the way we think about things. And even though we're moving into a greater landscape and strata of the heart, strata of the knowing and the wisdom, the compassion, of love and of light, we do have the choice here. And this is a piece of art that demonstrates that. This one's called Choices. And we consider the dark and the light being the love and the dark being the shadow, the fear. And in every moment, in every situation that arises, we have the opportunity to either choose love or choose fear. And we imagine life is like an adventure book. And depending on what we choose, what we connect with, where we put our attention, where we place our awareness, we will receive that back infinite fold. And again, the good news is we can change our minds about things. And as we do that, as we begin to exercise and strengthen our ability to choose love over fear, we come into a realization where we begin to bend those synapses and how we've been thinking about ourselves and about the world and about others. And we begin to connect to the greater strata where love exists, where all the other people in the whole world through all time and space have exercised love, have exercised trust, have exercised faith. And so it returns to us multiplied. And that's why prayer, expressing gratitude, sustaining ourselves in a mind that is aligned with faith, it reinforces and stabilizes us and gives us the ability and strengthens and fortifies our knowing that what we are putting out will be met in the highest order. We are aligning it with the good that is in this world and the good that is the world and beyond the world, with God, with love, with light, so that we create this labyrinth through this grid, through this matrix of collective consciousness, and we go beyond it, and we connect with that higher order where all is one, where we do experience unity consciousness. And this is such a beautiful gift to give ourselves and to give others. Right? So just demonstrating that in the metaphysical realm of what actually happens. And I do want to read to you from my book. If you're new to me, I am an author. This is my latest book that's available on Amazon and soon on iBooks. It's entitled The Reiki Apprentice. It embodies my 3-year apprenticeship with my Grand Reiki Master, and really the coming ups, all the things that I had to go through in order to heal my life. And we go step by step, and you learn all of the metaphysical energy tools that I learned with my teacher. Now, and this is a funny story. You know, I was backpacking through Europe, and much of my backpacking journeys are depicted. There's a lot of metaphysical and mystical spiritual encounters and amazing characters that I come into contact with through my journey. And they are summed up in the book. And there's this time I was backpacking and camping, and I wasn't prepared. I didn't even have a tent at first when I went out on the road. I had really nothing. And here's this little offering. Last night I stubbed my toe on a rock after peeing by some shrubs. Before I went to sleep, I made a request to the universe. I asked, please send me a working flashlight. This morning I found myself inclined to crouch down on hands and knees. Look under the bushes, a voice from within announced. Reaching my arm through dry leaves, I could feel a cylindrical object under my fingers. A gift from the universe. My new blue flashlight works perfectly and is equipped with batteries already installed. So this is a miracle. This is just asking. When I asked the universe, I had every faith that somehow something good was going to happen. And I just said, please send me a working flashlight, not just a flashlight, but a working flashlight. Universe, send this my way. And I put it out there and I let it go. And sometimes when we ask, when we demonstrate that faith, the universe responds instantaneously and brings that blessing to us as it serves our highest good and the highest good of all. And this is a miracle. The miracle, first of all, was that I had chosen to ask. I had chosen to demonstrate my faith in the universe by simply making a request. And in that way, you can too. So in a way, that was a prayer. That was also a demonstration. Oh. It's the God phone, everyone. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Okay, you ready? Hello? It's God. Hello, God. Thank you so much. Yes, we are here. Christine is here. Yes, that's right. In America, it is Thanksgiving Day. We are exercising our gratitude on this day and every day. Of course, God wants us always, and me always, to read about and share on A Course in Miracles. Oh, and especially the 50 principles. Okay, will do. God sends God's love to you and to everyone. Thank you so much, God. Namaste. How cool is that? So I am a student of A Course in Miracles, and this book has truly changed my life. One of these days, I will do a live stream. I'll do a talk on the history of it and how it came about. But ultimately, it is said to be the channeled words of Jesus. Now, there are comprised in it 50 principles of miracles, the principles of miracles. I'm going to read a few to us, and we'll discuss them. Prayer is the medium of miracles. It is a means of communication of the created with the Creator. Through prayer, love is received, and through miracles, love is expressed. Prayer is the medium of miracles. So again, when we align ourselves in prayer, when we focus our intention, when we focus our awareness in a prayerful way, we are demonstrating our faith. Really, we are demonstrating our faith, and we are creating a line of energy. We are creating those gridways, those pathways of energy for that divine blessing, for that miracle to come to us. When we pray, we are demonstrating love. We are choosing love. We are exercising our ability and our spiritual will to know and to trust that love is the truth. Through prayer, love is received, and through miracles, love is expressed. The next one, miracles are thoughts. Thoughts can represent the lower or bodily level of experience, or the higher or spiritual level of experience. So this is interesting, right? Going back to the thoughts and the grid and the matrix, choosing love or choosing fear, where we place our attention, where we place our word and our energy is where we're going to receive back. So in this way, thoughts can represent the lower or bodily level of experience, which generally we will refer to as fear, though it doesn't have to embody that, right? Whereas the higher or spiritual level of experience can be also expressed and considered and plugged into through the power of our thoughts. Miracles are thoughts. What kind of miraculous thoughts can you give rise to today and every day as we consider our thoughts and our words as expressed in our life? We can imagine and conceive that we do have the power through our spoken word to connect in a miraculous way, to bridge heaven on earth, and to create the ability for that love to be channeled through us and to be expressed in ourselves and in all that surrounds. Miracles are both beginnings and endings, and so they alter the temporal order. They are always affirmations of rebirth, which seem to go back but really go forward. They undo the past and the present, and thus release the future. Now that's interesting. It's almost like a little riddle. Miracles are both beginnings and endings, and so they alter the temporal order. The temporal order are the timelines that we live by. And equally so, as I was sharing in the spiritual weight loss live stream last week, when we allow ourselves to stay in a victim mode and to stay in a blame and shame mode, we are aligning ourselves with the past. We are saying yes to the past. We are saying yes to all the versions of ourselves that we have been, and all the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that we've invested and given rise to. Through the grids, we can create grids through our feelings, actions, and emotions, and then we can sustain them by continually plugging into them, right? And so for most of my life, I lived as a victim. And I lived as a victim, and my victimhood was sustained by my thoughts about myself, by my thoughts towards others in my past. And that kept me in alignment with the past. It kept me seeing myself as a victim in the past. And as I chose again, as I learned, as I even just began to discover that I could choose again, I could choose differently the way I thought about my past. I could choose forgiveness. What happened is time began to collapse. That temporal order of past affecting my present began to dissolve. And with it, those feelings and all of those emotions began to be given a space through which they could heal. And as I began to choose new belief modes and allow the past to be healed, I then plugged into the greater strata where my perfect health and happiness, mind and body, aligned. And that's that Trinity we speak of. My mind and body began to align with the truth, the true hologram that is the higher order, my higher self, of my highest wisdom that is aligned with God. And you can do it too. All we have to do is choose in any given moment. And lastly, miracles are natural signs of forgiveness. Through miracles, you accept God's forgiveness by extending it to others. Through miracles, you accept God's forgiveness by extending it to others. Miracles are natural signs of forgiveness. You know, that's another part of this temporal order and of collapsing time. Oh, and let me go back one moment to the last principle I was just reading. Miracles are always affirmations of rebirth, which seem to go back, right? Because I had to go back in time and say, I forgive you to the bully. I forgive you to the person who sexually abused me. I forgive you to my mother. I forgive you to, and the list can go on and on and on. But as I seem to go back into the past and forgive, what happens is I started to collapse time, right? So they seem to go back, but they really go forward. Miracles undo the past in the present and thus release the future. So in this way, as I released the past and I set free not only myself, but all the others that for so many years I felt a victim of, I was set free to be fully in the moment. And I also set free my future to be in alignment with that which was free of the past. Ultimately, when we demonstrate our faith, when we demonstrate our gratitude, we demonstrate through prayer, we are collapsing time. The past is done. Whether it's 5 minutes ago, whether it's 10, 50 years ago, the past no longer exists, only to the extent that you allow it to and give it life through your belief, through your passion, through your investment. Right? And that's one thing. If those past experiences are filled with love, filled with light and joy, those help to propel us and levitate us. They give us levitative qualities that help to suspend us outside of the past and bring that awareness of love and light into the present moment, which is where all of life is, which is where your perfect health and divinity resides. Yet, when we stay suspended in the past, whether it's an issue with someone at work, whether it's not forgiving someone from the past, maybe you had cancer in the past and you're free now, you're in remission and you've been free of it for 4 years. But if you continue to dwell in fear that it could come back, then you're perpetuating that possibility, rather exercising faith and trust in the now moment that I am now healthy and I bless my health. I pray and give thanks for this beautiful body vehicle and that I am with perfect health now. Now moment is where it all is. The now moment is where you are. The future has yet to happen. The past is done. And as we begin to allow ourselves to align in the miraculous moment of the miracle that resides and abides right now, through conscious and proper use of our word, through conscious exercising of our emotions and of our feelings, and through demonstrating forgiveness towards ourselves and towards others, towards that person at work, towards our family members, towards ourselves from the past, we collapse time and we allow ourselves to come into our full power and authority. If you think about it, if we live in the past, whether again it's last week, just yesterday, 10, 20, 50 years ago, that's a lot of our energy that is consumed and taken up. That's a lot of our life force energy that has to be invested in all of those energies. And again, are those energies bridging to you that which gives you levitative qualities and acts to suspend you from the heaviness and the density of the worldly plane? Or are your thoughts, your prayers, your expressions giving rise to that which aligns you through love, and so infinitely working this labyrinth way through the grid, connecting with God, connecting with source, and so bridging that down? We collapse time. So again, miracles are natural signs of forgiveness. Through miracles, you accept God's forgiveness by extending it to others. By extending it to others. So who can you forgive right now? Who can you forgive right now? You can think about it silently to yourself. Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's a friend, a family, a loved one. Maybe it's someone you have a grudge with for many, many years. Today, on this happy day of thanks, can you, rather than sustaining those old paradigms of hurt, of blame, of shame, shift, move those grids, move your synaptic connections and how you've been wiring yourself to be a victim into being a sovereign, free, royal, and majestic being that is truly aligned with God? Yes, you can. I give you permission. Yes, you can. So there's another thing that I want to read out of A Course in Miracles before we move on. And there is a prayer. There is a prayer. And many, many years ago, well, maybe not too many years ago, in this new year, it'll be coming up to year 4 that I've been a student with A Course in Miracles. And there's a prayer in it that reads, "Dear God, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to whom?" And in this way, we are placing our trust in that which is greater than us, and we are surrendering our life, our work, everything that we do to that source, to that lifeline that is ever sustaining us in the good, in the beauty, in the happiness, in the health, right? And when we do that, we allow a greater order to come into our life and organize things. I call God the quantum organizer, right? My definition of God is the almighty power of love without an opposite. Love and only love. And when we allow ourselves to plug into that, and when we allow ourselves to surrender our gifts, our talents, our abilities, and say, "Where would you have me go, dear God?" When we surrender our illnesses, our finances, our issues with others, family, relationships, whatever, our creative endeavors, and we say, "Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to whom?" We are giving our life over to a higher order. And that is so deeply metaphysical. That is trust in its essence. That is so powerful. And that is unfuckable with. When you align with that almighty power of source, of God, of love, and of light, there is nothing that can mess with that. Because you are not saying, "I'm going to do this all by myself." And believe me, there's a power in that. Yes, courage. Yes, having faith in yourself. Yes, having a knowing within yourself. Yet connecting that with the source that is greater than us and giving it over, this is where the dynamics of life really begin to change. I went through a time with my books where I really identified with them, and I thought that they were mine. And over the years of studying A Course in Miracles, I realized that all of my creations do not belong to me. They belong to God. They belong to love. They are the epitome of that quantum organizer. And so when I say, "Dear God, with these books, or with this one book I'm working on, I'm not going to try to figure out how it's going to work out. With my family member's illness, with cancer, I'm not going to try to figure out what needs to be best done, because my mind is only my mind, and my mind is limited to, no matter how great I can think or connect with the love of the universe, there is an almighty source of love through which all good comes from. And so let me and let us connect to that source and say, "Dear God, these are my issues right now." And instead of saying and using prayer in a way that is, "Okay, I need a new car, dear God. I need $10,000. Heal this cyst on my knee. I need," instead of giving God a list of what we need, God to fix, we are saying, "You know these issues." God, source, love, light knows who you are. They know your gifts and talents, abilities. They know if you need to pay the rent. God knows if you're behind in your bills. But when we give it over to that source and we say, "Dear God, where would you have me go?" With regard to this situation, or just in general as a prayer. This is a prayer I extend to you, everyone, because it has worked miracles over and over in my life. Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to whom? And in this way, you will receive divine mighty downloads of guidance. And now granted, sometimes those packets of guidance will be offerings from God, from source, that will invite you to exercise your ability to express forgiveness, to express releasing the past in ways that you might be like, "I'm not ready. I'm not ready to let that go yet. I'm still working on that. What else you got, God?" So often we'll be invited with the opportunity to exercise our faith and demonstrate it in ways that could take us out of our comfort zone. But know this, when you are invited to go to that realm, you are being taken to another level of your existence. You are being directly connected to that quantum organizer. You're giving it to God. You're saying, "I give it to you to organize, to show me, illumine me." And this connects us in ways beyond what our minds can consider and think that needs to happen, and thinks it knows what needs to happen. in order for everything to be good and to be well. And granted, sure, we have illuminations, we have divine intervention. Yet, when it's consciously aligned with that love, with that light, with that source, with that almighty power, there is a connection to that power that enlivens us and places us in a very different paradigm, again, away from worldly considerations and into heaven on earth realization. And they are two very, very different planes of existence. And if you have had that experience of being in the world and not of it, you will know. And that is a spiritual life. That is a quality of life that is yours, that is mine, that is every person's, should they decide to receive it, should they decide to ask for it and allow it in. So I want to read you one more thing, a prayer from my book, The Reiki Apprentice. So for many years, I've had the honor of working with very, very ill people, whether it be in nursing homes, in hospice and hospitals, children, elders, and healthy people as well. But I've also had the divine assignment to work with those in comas. And there's a prayer in this. You know, this is a true story. Everything in this book is true. And there's a prayer that I speak with two students of mine. We were in the hospital and guided to share, invited by a family to share Reiki healing with their son who had just been in a motorcycle accident and who was in a coma. And we paused before going into the to the hospital room. And I said a prayer with them. And the prayer is, "O divine angels of the highest light, be with us now. Channel your curative influence and healing powers through our bodies, minds, and speech. Allow us to do your work in the world here and now. Allow that Brendan and his family find peace through our time here today. Fill us with your light, with your unconditional love and compassion, that we may do your work for the highest good of all. Amen." That we may do your work. We didn't go into that hospital room and think, and I wasn't like, okay, we need to do this in order to fix this. It was like, no, this is in God's hands. Where would you have us go? What would you have us do? Allowing. And I love how in this prayer, allow is twice. Allow us to do your work in the world here and now. Allow that Brendan and his family find peace through our time here today. Allowing. When we pray, we are inviting in the higher order. When we pray, we are demonstrating our faith in that which is beyond the senses, that which makes no sense. Faith goes beyond reason. Hope is demonstrated in the realm of reason, in the realm of facts and of findings and of thinking and of the mind. Faith is of the heart and higher. Faith is that which is aligned with love and with a higher order. And when we demonstrate it, we are giving rise, we are saying, yes, come into my life and show me the divine order through my consciousness, through the world, through amazing synchronicities that happen. And when synchronicities and miracles begin to happen over and over again, according to A Course in Miracles, that's actually the natural order. And according to A Course in Miracles, when miracles do not happen regularly, something's wrong. Something's wrong with the way that we're thinking. And so it's interesting. We use the mind, we use the mental continuum to align with the greater order of the heart. And in that way, connect with that higher source and give rise to it. So there was one more thing that I did want to read from my book, The Reiki Apprentice, and it gives us another look into the grid system and into the metaphysics of how this works, how the grids work. Everything is energy. It's funny how we choose grids with each thought and emotion we entertain. And it's interesting how in every moment we hook into grids energetically one way or another through our mental, emotional, and physical language, thoughts, and responses. Everything is energy, and like attracts like. Everything, feeling, and emotion we entertain is braided together. Is braiding together a tapestry of life for us to experience. Everything as energy vibrates as different cycles per second. And so we draw to us that of a like vibration or a like cycle per second, depending on what we think about on a daily basis or get swept up in emotionally. When we plug into a grid, we receive more of it. Like attracts like. It's the law of vibration. The same rules apply with the grid. What you focus on multiplies. You are bringing light to whatever it is you are focusing on. You begin to see it everywhere you go, no matter where you go. You begin to experience it in your physical, mental, and emotional reality. When we focus on happiness and joy, we connect with them via the law of vibration, or as a vibrational match of one's cycle per second. So again, what we think about multiplies. For so many years, I lived in fear. I just lived in fear. And because of that fear and that victim mentality and that self-sabotage that had really become, ironically, a safe place for me to exist, that created my reality. Wherever I went, I saw people, places, and things through those lenses of fear that I was plugging into through the greater strata of the grid. It became multiplied because I was connecting with everyone else who had fearful thoughts, whether it be about sex, men, money, being a victim, sexual abuse, whatever it is. I connected with all of them, and it reinforced, and it said, yes, yes, what I thought and what I believed and plugged into piped into me, and through my perception and the way that I saw and the way that I thought and believed about myself and the world came to a reality. Our environment is alive and reacts to our perception of it. So whatever you think about, you bring about. That's a little quote from Dr. Joe Dispenza, who I love. The Biology of Belief by Dr. Bruce Lipton. He's a fantastic author. I love his offerings. And he had a little recent YouTube where he was talking about prayer or the crossing of the limbs in the body. Right? When we cross our legs, we cross our arms. We might think of body language in this way, that we are being defensive, right? But what he's offering is that we are connecting the two sides, the two stratas of the brain, so that there is greater harmony. When there is union between left and right, there is a coherence, there is an availability and an ability for us to be more in tune with the truth, with that middle path, with the oneness that is our inherent gift, that is us. There's another teacher, Drunvalo Melchizedek, that speaks on when we meditate. What happens is that the left and the right sides of the brain begin to connect through the corpus callosum, through this beautiful area that bridges the left and the right lobes in the brain. And when that place in the middle of the brain becomes activated through our meditation, that is the one place that we begin to be able to perceive that unity, to perceive through the lenses of love, through that third eye awareness, through that light sight. Thine eye be single. We have physical eyes. These are the eyes of hope. Those are the eyes of the world. And then we have our light sight, our third eye. That's the eye that sees unity, that sees one, that sees love and only love. And we get to exercise it through our meditations, through our prayer, through expressing faith, through expressing gratitude. So to sum up, gratitude, faith, prayer collapses time, brings us into the now moment where all of our power and authority reside. And what is that power and authority? That power and authority is you choosing love, is you giving yourself the ability, you creating the correct conditions to choose love over and over and over again. And like beads on a necklace, as you choose love over and over again, every time you have a whim to go back to being a victim, to go back to blaming someone, to go back to thinking that someone has it in for you, as you braid and bead more and more love onto your necklace, onto your string of life, what happens is every time you have that knee-jerk reaction, that trigger, that pattern that wants to feel guilty, that wants to blame, that wants to, whatever it is, there's a foundation there of love for you to return to. And that ability is greater strengthened through the every choice you make. So that as you fall back maybe into patterns of worldly consideration, you have this springboard. You can be absorbed into that love that you've been creating as a foundation and be then pressed back out into earthly, heaven on earth realization that bridges heaven on earth, that bridges the love through your consciousness, through your heart, through your self-realization. And that is peace. That's where peace resides. And what is peace? Peace is you relaxing. And where does relaxation stem from? It stems from your mind. We can do a lot of yoga, we can do all sorts of stuff, but if we don't begin to allow ourselves to master our mind and the mental continuum. We can do as much yoga, as many workshops, read as many books as we want. But the truth lies in you learning to harness those wild horses of the mind and bring them into that greater love, that greater light. Connect the dots of remembering the truth that you are, that is love. Connecting the two sides of the body, connecting the hemispheres. So Bruce Lipton was talking about these crossing the legs or crossing the arms, right? And body language, this might be considered defensive. But ultimately, what he's proposing is that sometimes when we find ourselves doing this, or if you're in a conversation with someone and they show this, they're not necessarily defending themselves or trying to tell you that you're wrong or that what you're saying doesn't have any qualification. Just maybe they are putting themselves in a place of deeper consideration and unconsciously connecting left and right so that that bridgeway can be unified and activated so that they can perhaps see and understand and have compassion and hear you and see you for the truth that you are doing your best to express at any given time and space. I pray that these messages reach you well. I'm so very grateful for all of your love, your time, and your attention, for joining me on these live streams. I feel so blessed. I feel so very guided when I say, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? As many of you know, for months before these live streams started, I was talking about it on my tarot, my weekly tarot on YouTube, and saying, okay, in the fall, in October, I'm going to start these live streams because God told me to. God was like, okay, this is what you're going to do. If you've been asking me, this is what you're going to do. I don't know where it's all going to lead, but I know it feels in resonance. It feels good. And so here I am. I'm doing it. Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say? And to who, dear God? And so it is. So again, thank you so very much. My name is Tuesday May Thomas. I am a Heaven on Earth ambassador here to teach self-mastery. 4D Trinity, this is a spiritual self-help show. Every week we have different themes and topics. And next week we will be discussing on November 30th, the word, the power of our words, and the metaphysics of how they connect us through the gridway and with all beings through all time and space, and how we can better use our word and our conscious awareness of how we demonstrate word in the world to align ourselves with greater love, greater health, happiness, and light. Please do sign up for my newsletter. You can do that in the show me, the description box below. All of my information resides there. You can sign up by getting my new book. It's an ebook called The Higher Self, Blueprint of Mastery. It's free. When you sign up for that book, you will be entering the land of my email, where I send out 1 or 2 love letters every month and keep you in tune with my blogs, with my teachings, with videos, and with my upcoming books. I have free books, books you can buy, all in the description box below. If you are on Instagram, please join me there. I love that medium of social media. And thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following, for watching, for thumbs upping and commenting. I am so very grateful. I get to do what I love to do here. And I pray you do for yourself that which brings you the greatest joy and that is in alignment with your heart. Did you hear that? Universal confirmation. And on that note, I bid you farewell and happy Thanksgiving, everyone out here in the States. Namaste with so much love. Blessings, blessings, blessings. So great. Right, to take you out, we are going to put our little intro outro on. Thank you so much again, everyone. Namaste.